I'll make the argument against, although I do agree with you, but I'm just devil's advocating here for a little bit.
Okay.
John Lennon recorded some absolute dog shit after the Beatles when he was doing some of that Yoko Ono, Plastic Ono band bullshit before he took a bullet.
Right.
Handy-capable quality. He could be the manager.
Right.
Because he took the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, he did.
But he put out some just shit. And everything other than Double Fantasy from John Lennon solo was garbage.
Now, but
shit, his legacy not tarnished any.
Well,
with time, he was able to do shitty music, and time made people forget that shitty music.
But
so he's not tarnishing his legacy. But his legacy's fine.
But I think the difference is like, it's the difference between sucking and writing shitty music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of bands we see now where their new records are bad, but we still love the band.
Yeah.
And it's not, it doesn't tarnish them. And what I'm talking about is like Ozzy going out there and just, croaking like a frog, tuning to Q, can barely get around. And it's like he's like an absolute shell of what he used to be. It's like David Lee Roth.
Yeah, but
it's like David Lee Roth, A Different Kind of Truth was a kick-ass album, but he's god-awful live. But so, I mean, that it's a difference between sucking and writing bad, like crappy bad music.
But look at the honks. Yeah, there's people like you and I, and a lot of people. There's 20-30% of the audience is like, yeah, Roth blows goats.
Yeah.
And just think he sucks. But look at the level of people that will make every excuse in the book to say that he doesn't. And there's no possible way they're hearing something different than we are. They just don't want to admit that their hero sucks balls now.
Yeah. People have a problem with that. It's, I mean, it's like I love Dream Theater. They're my second favorite band.
Yeah.
And, James LaBrie has never been like a perfect singer live.
Right.
But, he was good. He was cool. But the last couple times I've seen him, it's obvious his voice is starting to decline.
Right.
And I wouldn't lie and go, oh, he's amazing. He's still got it. Like, no, he's on the decline a little bit. It's like I don't think people understand there's a big difference. You can still be like a super fan and still admit that they're not what they once were or that they sound like shit. I mean,
for whatever reason, people think that they have to worship their bands even when their bands stink.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, not shitting on my friend Don Dokken, but he is not the guy he used to be.
Right.
His vocals are tough to take a lot of shows. Just the truth.
Right.
And I love Don. I think of Don like almost like a brother.
Yeah.
I mean, but live show, yeah, I'm watching John Levin.
Yeah.
I'm doing you with Eddie Van Halen at a Dokken show. I'm watching John Levin play. But to say that if you go into, and Facebook has made me imminently, is that the right word? Imminently aware. I don't think that's the right word. Whatever.
Finish the sentence. We can. Decide.
I'm very aware of how hardcore fans are with bands now, and they're all idiots.
Oh yeah.
The hardest core fan of any band is always an ass.
Yeah.
Always. I'm in this one Facebook group with Judas Priest. Ripper invited me to join it.
Okay.
And the group is just supposed to be, now Ripper I think started the group.
Okay.
So it's not KK's Priest group.
Okay.
It's a Judas Priest discussion group.
I'm in a few Van Halen ones like that.
Every asshole known to man is in there talking about how Ripper sucks and he never did anything good, and the only good albums are anything with Rob, and Nostradamus is king, and they never recorded a bad album. Rock-a-Rolla's every bit as good as Defenders of the Faith. And, I mean, it's outrageous, the stuff that I read. Yep. And then they go to the upteenth level of, mullets were bad, but Rob Halford knew how to rock a mullet. I mean, they go to that level of absurdity.
Yep.
To say that their band is good. And, I mean, I do social media for a couple of bands. And even for those bands, the people that are the daily posters on their social media are like, these guys are the best there's ever been. There's never been a better band ever.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, they were a mid-card act for 5 minutes in 1980 to 76 to 80, for 4 years.
Yeah.
And they were never 20,000 seat. They were never U2. They were never Bruce Springsteen. They were never Metallica. They were always, at their peak, 5,000 seater maybe.
Opening for the openers. Of
Yeah,
Bruce
opening
Springsteen,
for the
Metallica.
Who. Yeah, opening for the Who or something. Opening
Yeah.
for Journey.
Yeah.
They were never that level. And it's like, how can you say these things? You're not being disloyal, at least in my head. You're not being disloyal if you say, I really like these guys. I'll point to a band in particular for me that I think makes sense. One of my favorite bands of all time is the band Love Hate, Jizzy Pearl's band.
Yeah.
I love that band. The first time I met Jizzy, I came to him with 11 album or CD jackets. And he looked at me and he didn't even know there was that many. And he's in the fucking band on every one of them.
Right.
And he literally said, I thought we only had like 4 records. He didn't even remember doing the records. That's how long ago. That's, the drugs and alcohol and everything else of the time. Now, as much as I love that band, I would never in a million years say, you know what the best band of the 80s was? Love Hate. No, it wasn't. Truth be told, the biggest band of the 80s was one that I don't especially love, Motley Crue. Motley Crue was the biggest band of that time period.
Right.
There was Motley Crue, then there was everybody else.
Yep.
And that's just the way it was. Doesn't matter if you liked them or not. That's the truth.
Yeah.
This worship that people do for their favorite band is always unjustified. Always. Because they pretend like they're the biggest band in the world, and they're just not.
Well, you know me with Van Halen and Dream Theater. I'm a huge honk for those bands, but I think you would admit that I'm at least realistic about it. We didn't go to, Wisconsin to see that Van Halen show with Dokken and all that.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell you, where you going? David Lee Roth is on his A game. It's like, no, he's fucking terrible.
No.
It's you could be honest and still be a fan.
Yeah.
I think I told you I was in one of those Van Halen discussion groups, and this guy was in there saying that Dave and Eddie are best friends. And I'm like, are you fucking high? They were never, ever best friends.
No.
You don't know what you're talking about. Ha ha. And he posts one picture of them on stage looking at each other and laughing from their most recent tour. I'm like, dude, I was backstage in 2013. They have separate buses.
Yeah.
They have separate dressing rooms. They even have separate
shitters. Right.
Oh, that doesn't. And I posted the pictures. He goes, ha ha, you think that proves something? You're such an idiot. I'm like,
Okay.
why do you want this to be true so badly?
Okay, fan.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, and especially, and it's like, and I don't want to be that guy, but it's like, me, if I'm into this shit, I do the research. I know all the trivia and I know all the facts and everything. So it's like, don't come at me about one of these bands and tell me that I don't know something. 'Cause pretty much I know it.
Mm-hmm.
So but I don't go do that in public. It looks like douchey. And this guy just wouldn't let it go.
Of course not.
I'm like, dude, everybody knows they can't fucking stand each other.
Right.
I even posted an article. It's like, it was like a week old. David Lee Roth going, Eddie Van Halen and I have never, ever been friends. And the guy still wouldn't come off the fact that they're best fucking friends.
Of course not.
I'm like, dude, and at that point I just had to drop out because I can't handle stupidity on that level.
Well, dude, it's just like the Dokken is out, right now playing these shows with Lynch Mob.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of photos of Don looking over at George and going, yeah, he's jamming over there. Doesn't mean Don loves George.
Yeah.
Certainly doesn't mean George loves Don. It just means they're getting along to do their deal.